24 hours, 12 world capitals, 24 dead in a single apartment block. A pope calling artificial intelligence a spiral of annihilation. 2 ships attacked at the throat of global oil. A U.S. president sitting across from his greatest rival in Beijing while military gunfire echoes inside a foreign parliament. This is not a movie trailer. This is one day on Earth, and almost nobody is connecting the dots. Start in Beijing. The American president and the Chinese president just wrapped 2 days of face-to-face talks inside the Great Hall of the People. No major trade deal, no Taiwan breakthrough, no public roadmap on Ukraine. Just stability. Both sides called it productive. Diplomats called it a holding pattern. And under that polite language sits the most loaded warning any Chinese leader has delivered to a sitting American counterpart in a decade. The Chinese leader told the American directly that Taiwan is the single most important issue between Beijing and Washington. He said mishandling it could push the relationship into, quote, a very dangerous situation. Read that line again. The leader of China told the leader of the United States that one misstep on Taiwan could trigger collapse. He did not say competition. He did not say tension. He said danger. Beyond Taiwan, they touched trade, the Middle East, Ukraine, and the Korean Peninsula. 4 powder kegs in one room. No specific announcements followed. No tariff freeze. No commitment on Iran. No language on Russia. The American team flew home with photo opportunities. Beijing kept every card in its hand. Western analysts noted that the silence itself is the message. When superpowers refuse to commit, every smaller country has to start hedging. Now, Kyiv. While leaders posed for cameras in Beijing, Russian missiles tore through a Ukrainian apartment block. The strike marked the 3rd straight day of large-scale aerial barrages across the country. The Ukrainian president walked the rubble personally. Rescue crews dug through concrete for hours. By Friday morning, the death toll had climbed from 9 to 24. And Ukrainian officials warned it could still rise as crews kept pulling bodies from the building. 3 of those 24 victims were children. Children sleeping in their own beds, in a building with no military value, in a city the world supposedly cares about. Russia has hammered Ukraine for over 1,000 days. The pattern is now clear. When global attention drifts towards summits and Middle East flashpoints, Moscow accelerates the strikes. The headlines call it escalation. Kyiv calls it terror. Both are correct. Pivot to the Strait of Hormuz. One ship anchored off the United Arab Emirates was seized and dragged toward Iran. A second was attacked and sank near the coast of Oman. About 1/5 of the world's oil passes through that narrow strip of sea. 2 incidents in one day. Insurance premiums for tankers spiked overnight. Energy desks across Asia and Europe were on the phone before sunrise. The Gulf is back on a knife's edge. Here is the piece almost no outlet led with. A confidential U.S. intelligence analysis concludes that China has made major strides against the United States across economic, military, and diplomatic domains, specifically because of the war in the Middle East. Translation: while Washington pours attention and weapons into one region, Beijing quietly builds influence everywhere else. That is the long game. And the report says America is losing rounds it does not even realize it is fighting. Layer in this twist. The Israeli Prime Minister's office said he quietly visited the UAE during the Israeli and American war with Iran. The UAE then denied the visit ever happened. 2 governments, 2 stories, 0 matching paperwork. Either a back-channel meeting was so sensitive Abu Dhabi will never confirm it, or someone is lying for demand. Back to Washington. The Senate just confirmed a new chairman of the Federal Reserve. The vote was 54 to 45. He inherits an economy still digesting inflation, a tariff regime in flux, and trillions in federal debt. Markets opened with a yawn, but every mortgage rate, every car loan, every credit card interest charge, and every emerging market currency now bends around the decisions one new chair is about to make. Look closer at that vote. A Pennsylvania senator was the only Democrat to cross the aisle and back the nominee. 1. In a Senate where party discipline is iron, a single defection makes news. He has spent the past year drifting from his own caucus on Israel, immigration, and now monetary policy. The question burning through Democratic strategists tonight is simple. Is he heading for the exit, or rebuilding the party from the inside. Now picture this. The Philippines Senate building was locked down after military personnel walked in and gunshots were fired inside. A senator wanted by the International Criminal Court had taken refuge in the chamber. Cameras caught lawmakers ducking under desks. A sovereign legislature became a hideout for a fugitive. The footage went viral inside Asian media within minutes. Manila woke up to a constitutional crisis nobody in the West is even covering: Rome. The new pope walked into La Sapienza University, the first pope to set foot on that campus since 2008, when his predecessor canceled under faculty protests. Standing in front of students, he said investments in artificial intelligence and high-tech weaponry are dragging humanity into, quote, a spiral of annihilation. From a man who almost never uses apocalyptic language, those 4 words carry weight. Vatican watchers say his first encyclical, due soon, will go further. He did not stop there. The Pope attacked the explosion in global military spending, especially across Europe, calling it a transfer of wealth from education and healthcare to elites who, in his words, care nothing for the common good. He demanded stronger monitoring of military and civilian AI, warning that algorithms cannot be allowed to absolve humans of responsibility. The Vatican is now openly the loudest moral voice against autonomous weapons. Tech CEOs heard him. Few responded. Cross to Amman, Jordan. After 14 weeks of quiet negotiation, Yemen's internationally recognized government and the Iran-backed Houthis signed the largest prisoner swap of an 11-year civil war. More than 1,600 detainees will go home. UN officials and the Red Cross witnessed the signing. The UN Secretary General welcomed it within hours. For families on both sides of Yemen's front lines, this is the first real ray of hope in years. Inside the numbers, 1,100 of those prisoners are Houthi-affiliated. 580 come from the government side, including 7 Saudis and 20 Sudanese fighters captured in border skirmishes. Politicians and journalists held for years by the Houthis are also on the list. It builds on talks held in Oman last December, when both sides floated nearly 2,900 names. This is real progress. It is also the easy part. Switch to Uttar Pradesh, India. In the last 36 to 48 hours, at least 104 people died from nonstop rain, lightning, and thunder. 104 lives erased by weather. The Russian president sent personal condolences. Indian rescue teams are still recovering victims from collapsed roofs and flooded fields. Climate scientists have been warning for a decade that South Asian monsoons would grow more violent. This is what those warnings look like in real time. Even with that disaster unfolding at home, the Indian Prime Minister launched a 5-nation tour today. The message is clear. India will not be pulled into America's orbit, will not be absorbed by China's, and will not be ignored by either. He is selling Indian software, Indian defense gear, and Indian leverage as the rest of the world fractures. Every handshake on this trip is a quiet reminder that the 21st century has more than 2 superpowers, and in Havana. The CIA director personally delivered a message from the American president. The United States is, quote, prepared to seriously engage on economic and security issues, but only if Cuba makes fundamental changes. Translation: end the alliance with Russia and China, open the economy, and sanctions can ease. It is the most direct American overture to Cuba in years. Whether Havana takes the offer or laughs it off, will reshape the Caribbean. Now connect everything. Beijing and Washington circle Taiwan. Moscow flattens apartment blocks. Tehran rattles the Strait of Hormuz. Manila descends into a Senate gunfight. Rome warns of digital annihilation. Amman delivers a fragile peace. New Delhi reaches for power. Havana faces an ultimatum. 24 hours, 1 planet. And the through line is the same. The old order is cracking, and every capital is racing to claim what comes next before anyone else does. So here is the question that will decide the next decade. When historians look back at this single day in May, which story will they say was the real turning point? The Beijing summit nobody believed? The Pope's warning nobody listened to? Or the prisoner swap nobody covered? Drop your pick in the comments. Tell me what the world missed today, because everyone is watching the headlines, but the real story is always hiding underneath. If this video brought you value, Hit like, subscribe, and share it with a friend. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.